Welcome, everybody, to the side door. This is our second interview. It's something that we're starting to do. As you know, the side door is in Old Lyme, Connecticut. It's associated with the Old Lyme Inn. I'm an absolute jazz nut, and it's been an honor for me to have many, many musicians come here and play this room in the last 7 years. And as we were doing this, I said to myself, well, you can listen to a musician and hear where he wants to go, but sometimes you may want to hear from him. You may want to hear a story. You may want to hear something of why he wrote a song or why that happened. So I kind of call this the side door chat, as we call it. And tonight is Johnny O'Neill, my guest. Thank you, Johnny.
Pleasure.
And he was here last night. He will be here again tonight. He'll be playing. And this is probably Johnny's seventh time playing club. And all I have to say with Mr. O'Neill is when you come to hear Johnny O'Neill, you're getting some swing, you're getting some gospel, you're getting some blues, you're getting some joy, you're getting about what American music is, and he does it all. So Johnny, it's a pleasure to have you with me, and always, dear friend. And man, just start me out, man. Detroit, you know, inspiration.
Well, I was born and raised, of course, and my background was hereditary. My dad was a great singer, pianist. I'm a pianist, singer. He was the he was a motivating force for me musically. He was my mentor.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I was a little kid, I grew up listening to all the great Charlie Parker, all the Bud Powell's, Earl Gunners, and I didn't like jazz then. I was into gospel playing, which I still love to play gospel. And my dad used to literally sit down and make me listen. Listen how Hank Jones is accompanying this vocalist. He would always tell me, son, why don't you play jazz and learn how to play for singers? Because singers are always looking for a good piano player.
Yeah.
And if it gives you more weight, it'll make you much more of a disciplined piano player, help you develop a touch. So it used to drive me crazy at times, but I'm very grateful to this day that I had someone like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I just think that idea of listening in jazz or paying attention in jazz and having a vocalist, or, you know, they call that word, you know, like a comping. You know,
That's
when you're
right.
comping piano, you're listening and you're filling in the, I don't know, I look at it as filling in the cracks.
Yeah, because, you know, and with all due respect, there's a number of pianists that really play very well and, you know, you enjoy hearing. But then the real test is when they have to play behind a singer.
That's right.
That's the real ultimate test, you know. I mean, I've seen some great piano players should remain nameless, but I was surprised that they couldn't accompany a singer.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I can sit all night and just accompany, not really solo. If it's a good singer, I
Yeah.
love doing that.
Yeah.
Accompany. That's how I learned how to develop a sound and a feel and a touch and be able to caress
Right.
the piano.
Right.
You know?
The thing to me about jazz is, you know, you have incredible musicians on the stage. And there's talent. Everyone is very good. But they forget about the main thing to me is the song.
So,
Right?
yeah.
So how do we present the song? How do you present that in the way you hear it? The drummer's going to kick into you. The bass is going to hear it, and where you take to it. Because the song is key, you know?
Well, you know, I think a performance, it's like, to me, going to see a jazz performer is like going to see a good movie.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be anticlimactic. So
Right.
I'm always, when I think of repertoire, I think of a whole story.
Mhm.
Start with a part of the story. So usually my follow-ups will be with that following song because I know the lyrics. See?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm able sometimes to shape a set because I know the lyrics to the song, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't like not being spontaneous.
Yeah.
I like being in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best for me. You
Yeah.
know?
And what I enjoy is seeing jazz in a small room, and the side door holds 68 people, is to see those moments where this is going to start off, where it's going to go. The communication on a stage between musicians. You have some musicians that play together for a long time. You do some shows where you haven't played with this guy, right?
Right.
So you've got a lot going on. You're playing the piano, and okay, man, this is where I'm going. You're gonna follow this.
That's why it takes, when you play together, you have to listen first and watch.
Yes.
Listen to, you have
Right.
to play together, listen to each other,
Yeah.
have eye contact.
Right.
That's essentially important for me.
And it was interesting. You started last night with Easy Walker. What was it, Easy Walker?
Easy Walker.
And I introduced you, and you got on the piano, and your first chords were the most light, beautiful light chords, and I said to myself,
It's like you're on the runway, ready
Yeah.
for takeoff.
Yeah.
See?
and as you played, the song built, and I think, when I think about music, as an audience, you go, okay, where's he going with this? I feel it. How's he going to do it? You're making that audience listen, but you're making them work. The audience has to work with you.
Because it takes a real artist to play soft with authority to be
Yes.
felt more than heard.
Yes.
That's
And
important.
I was saying that when that song started, that sometimes when people talk about swing music, and it's like, it's got to go with this pace, or it's got to go with this pace, or it's got to be loud or soft, it can be like a whisper.
Like a whisper. Oh,
Like
yes,
a whisper,
absolutely.
man. And sometimes it swings harder to me in a whisper than it does.
That's right, it does. I would agree.
Yeah, and it's so. So I was listening to that, and I thank you for saying kind things of our piano.
Oh, yes.
Because, tell me, you must have piano stories. You probably played around the world. You sit down that piano, and it's good, or it's going to be a little bit difficult,
Yeah.
but you cut through the mustard, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make adjustments.
Yeah.
This piano has been very consistent. I've been playing it now 7 years.
Right.
It's still in great
Right.
shape.
That's
It's regulated. His voice has got a nice tone, and you can play the whispering
Mhm.
sound on it because the hammers are filed evenly. And I
Mhm.
enjoy playing it.
And also, your influences, there's always this Art Tatum that comes up with you. You're probably tired of that, but it's not. It's when people say who influenced Oscar Peterson, and there was a great concert where you opened for Oscar Peterson.
That was June 24th, 1985 at Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
that was an experience that I will never forget because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Minutes before I had to go, and George Wayne said, "Johnny, 5 minutes to showtime." My knees was literally shaking.
Yeah.
Opening for Oscar, and mind you, I had no lifeline. I'm a solo piano.
Hoo-hoo.
And I remember when I walked out on stage, when George Wayne introduced me, and I walked out on stage, I just walked like a robot.
Right.
I couldn't look at the audience or nothing.
Right.
I sat on the piano, took a couple deep breaths,
Right.
relaxed, Johnny. And as soon as I got through the first tune, the audience was totally with me. So all we want out of life is to be accepted. Bottom line,
Yeah.
to be accepted.
And it's so true
Yeah,
because
that's all we want.
that's all you want, and it's kind of it's a give and take, and it's a give and take in the music in the club, but like Ray Brown was a musician, an influencer. Talk about a swinger with many years, and then you went on to play with everybody.
Well, speaking of Ray Brown, he's the one really actually launched my career from the very beginning. I met Ray. I had always wanted to hear him live, so I was playing in Gary, Indiana, doing a hotel gig because I used to do a lot of top 40 back
Right.
in the days. I
Right.
still play jazz and do some of the pop music
Mhm.
and everything. So I saw where Ray Brown Trio was appearing at the Jazz Showcase in Chicago.
Mhm.
So I was off that Sunday. I said, I'm going to go meet Ray Brown.
Right.
And I'll never forget the nerve of me at
Right.
that time. I'm like in my early 20s.
Right.
So I walk up to Mr. Brown. My name is Johnny, and I'm a pianist from New York. I couldn't believe I asked him, can I sit in? He looked at me like,
Boom!
He said, this is the policy we don't have sitting in. So I stayed till the end of the evening.
Yeah.
They had packed up and everything, and Ray packed his bass up in the dressing room. So I'm sitting around like we did last night. I
Right.
went up and started
Right.
playing the piano. Ray came out of the dressing room and peeked around the corner, and he saw it was me.
Right.
He came and unpacked his bass and started playing with me. He said, "Oh, I see we have a new young little Oscar Peterson on the scene today." He said, "How would you like to do a record?" I had no idea that I would be asked to do a record. I'm going to meet this guy. He offered me a record deal. I drove him back to his hotel.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm gonna have you do a record for Concord
Right.
Jazz."
Right.
And initially, the first record date actually was Jeff Hamilton and John Clayton.
Right.
You know, and then we did a follow-up. I said, well, Ray, I like to do one with you. So
Right.
he flew me out to San Francisco, of course, and he said, I'm going to put you with Milt Jackson and Dizzy for some exposure.
I love it. For some exposure.
Some exposure.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
Ray's really responsible for getting me on the scene, you know,
Right.
first record date.
Right.
And it was great playing with Milt Jackson. I mean, that was like,
Yeah.
that was a real defining moment for me for playing all those great tunes.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot, of course.
And Mike LaDon was.
He was the last one to play
Play
with
with
Jackson
him.
before he passed
And it's so
away.
funny that here you are. You know, this is we're talking
Mike and
now.
I talk
but-
about that quite a bit, about Milt Jackson experiences.
Yeah. And with that's different than a trio.
And
That's
the first,
different.
Actually, and the first gig that I did with Milt Jackson was in Milwaukee at a place called the Jazz Gallery. And I was real nervous. His first words to me, we had met previously, but
Right.
so that was my actual first gig. He looked at me, he said, you don't play that out shit, do you? I said, no, Mr. Jackson.
You know, just brute honesty, man. I
Oh,
love
those
it.
guys was brutally honest.
Brutally honest. You're not gonna play any of that. Nope, nope,
Yeah.
man. And it's like, so then, you know, the movie Ray came out. Was that all during this time?
No, Ray 2001, when Ray came out in 2001, and
Yeah.
how that came to be, now that was really, I thought someone was playing a joke on me
Right.
when I got the call to do
Right.
Ray. Actually, I was out Birmingham visiting my family and kids, and I get this early morning call about 9 o'clock in the morning. So this lady from, I didn't realize I thought it was some prank.
Right.
This lady said, "Are you Johnny O'Neill?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, you've been highly recommended to play in a upcoming movie with Jamie Foxx, the Ray Charles story, but it was initially called at first Unchain My Heart."
Really?
And they
Unchain
changed-
my heart.
And then they switched it to Ray. So I'm thinking, I said, who is this? And I'm half asleep.
Right, yeah.
So I happened to look at my phone and I saw the California Area Code Exchange. Hollywood Pictures were one of them. And I remember I sat straight up in the bed. I'm like, okay. I said, I mean, I was at a loss for words. I couldn't catch my breath.
Right.
You know, and so I said, okay. I said, sure. I said, when?
Yeah.
She said, can you come do the screen test today?
Boom.
Now, I filmed my segment in New Orleans.
Right.
So she said, I'll call you back in a couple hours. They got me a ticket.
Right.
They flew me out there to do the screen test. Wow. And they took me in the makeup room. At the time, I had a full beard. They cut all my hair, and they put me in a
Well,
real
you got,
nostalgia.
man, you were looking like top dollar. All of a sudden, you walked in there, and it was like makeup and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and they put me in one of these 1949 nostalgic
Yes,
real old
sure,
suits.
sure.
And they stuffed me with plastic to make me look bigger.
And then you got to play the piano.
And I sat down and played. And the director, Taylor Hafford, he didn't even know.
Right.
He said, that's it.
That's
you know,
it, yeah.
I was like, oh, man, tears of joy. I mean, I just,
Yeah.
then I met Jamie
Yeah.
on the set. And it was, to be on the set of that magnitude, to see how they put those movies together
Right.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Because I watched a lot of the scenes as they were filming. And I noticed one thing about Jamie, during the filming, even when we weren't filming,
Right.
he stayed in the character the whole time. He was really living
Right.
that.
Yeah, you can feel it in the movie.
Yeah.
The movie is phenomenal. If
And
you
we-
haven't seen this, ladies and gentlemen.
And we hung out on the set, on behind the scenes. I mean, Jamie was a very fantastic, well-trained pianist himself. He
I
sat on
did
and
not
played-
know that.
He sat down and played some classical pieces for me. I was just, my
Yeah.
jaw dropped
Right.
to see him. Because
Right.
you see him on television playing the
Right.
pop stuff. But
Right.
he's a well-accomplished, consummate, wonderful pianist. 8 years of classical training, I believe.
Yeah.
And I remember when we weren't filming, he actually closed the lid of the piano, and he got on top of the piano. I just want to hear you just play the piano.
Yeah.
You know, all
Yeah.
that behind-the-scene footage that they promised to give me a copy, but of course I never
Yeah.
received it. But it was great working with him.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing was, when you perform, Johnny, to me, it's a religious experience because there's not many artists
that, number one, have the experience, the knowledge to play with all these iconic people. But to present yourself with the history of music and knowing the lyric, 1,500 songs you could sing. When you started to sing? What happened? Was it one night you decided?
Well, of course, as I mentioned before, my dad was a singer, so I always had a love for lyrics and vocalists.
Right.
So what started me to really officially start singing, I remember I was playing a hotel gig in Wichita, Kansas, and Joe Williams was doing the festival there, so I was playing in a hotel lobby.
Right.
So he heard. I used to be really shy about singing.
Yeah.
He heard me sing one tune that set. He walked up to me after the set. He said, "Let me tell you something, young man." He said, "I'm gonna tell you one time only." He said, "If a jazz musician, he or she, could sing, they would do it." He said, "You got it. You're a natural singer. You're a throwback to the Grill Gladiators from my era."
Yeah.
I was like, he said, "Make that part of who you are."
Yeah.
And that's what made me. But then again, I always knew lyrics, so it was easy for me because I remember lyrics.
Man.
So I started, and it tends to, certain places that I travel. A lot of times, I always like to establish myself as a piano player first.
Right.
And for some people that never heard me sing, I may play 2 or 3 songs before I sing.
Right.
And when I sing, people go, "Wow."
Oh, what's this angle?
I'm a piano player first. I can see that. But I'm a storyteller. I like being a storyteller. I love lyrics, and because all the lyrics is all about the hurt and pain that you live. That's what kind of neutralizes your soul, gives you the validity to be able to express music through lyrics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think when you're playing this, when you go into a blues, it's let me tell you, it's the real deal. It is it. I call it when you play the blues, it's okay. That's it. Some people play the blues. Okay, it's good. But when you play it, and the gestures, I think the magic of is how to work an audience or how to understand an audience and how to get them to be part of you. I mean, when you do this and you do this, you just turn around, right? You just turn around in that seat and look at your audience. And you're singing, I was born, blah, blah, blah. And they go, whoo, boy, they hook.
Because when I go up on stage to perform, people have asked me, I don't really so much go on stage to get house. It's like I'm telling artists, come on the journey. Let's come on the journey with me.
Yes.
So I like to present it just because I don't know where I'm going myself.
Right.
So I get motivated by that. I can just tell because it's a difference in applause. Some people applaud because it's the polite thing to do, and then there's people applaud because they thoroughly enjoy it.
Right.
I can tell the difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can tell the difference right away.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when people don't applaud, it's not that they're not enjoying it, but I can still feel the spirit.
Yes.
Their emotions.
Yeah.
And when people come up to you at the end of the set and say, "That was so beautiful, that made me cry," that makes me feel that I touched them. Because I'm being honest about what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one thing that gets me is, younger musicians today. There are tons of music. I mean, the music school, the music education for a jazz musician is phenomenal. And you're a professor and teacher. And I always said to myself, but when you get them in the club, you have people. You have to tell a story. You have to say, this is going to be. You were doing Art Tatum thing with Debussy in it. You threw a classical thing in, and then you did a little Billie Holiday thing, and then you did a gospel thing out of the blue. And if you listen to you're having fun.
I'm having
and you're kind of just toying, having fun. And I think that jazz music needs to be fun.
It's fun, yes. Otherwise, it would sound too technically
Yeah.
sound, and it loses its old,
You know?
Yeah.
And I
call jazz substance a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's too overly technically sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
It's happy music.
thank you.
Happy
And it was dancing music. You know, Milt Jackson, people were dancing, right? It's
Right.
like if I wish this was bigger, maybe I can have people dancing over here or whatever. But, it is so much fun having you play because it is authentic. and the amount of material that you put out within the first set, and then, okay, where's he going the second set? Now, tonight's set could be completely different than we heard last night. So all depends, the mood, the crowd, how's it going to go, how is it going to feel.
I mean, of course, we all, as performers, we all have, as they would cliches use, pets, things that we do a lot.
Right.
But it's still going to sound fresh because it's improvisation. So
Correct.
it's going to be interpreted.
Yeah.
You might do repeats, but it's going to have a whole different twist.
That's right.
Different
That's right.
feel, tempo. Sometimes the tempo varies.
Right. Right.
But I mean, I enjoy playing. I like having the diversity in my set because audience, it completes the whole audience because some people are there, they can relate to some of the pop.
Right. Right.
You intertwine them all together,
Right. Yeah.
And I love, as you can tell, I'm not closed-minded.
Correct. Correct. The agenda is wide open.
Yeah. You have to leave yourself open.
Yeah.
I guess all my vulnerability comes out once I'm on stage. I just let myself go.
Yeah.
Come on a journey with it. Let's go on this together.
Yeah.
And the thing, and I've talked about this many times. Now, see, encores, people don't understand. To me, my opinion, I think encores happen when they least intended. You can't make an encore happen.
Right.
It comes when you least expect it.
It's interesting.
When you least expect it.
Right.
I'll give you an example. I was playing, 2 years ago, I was over in Beijing.
Right.
And I played a lot of great tunes, and all of a sudden, man, I just played Georgia.
Right.
5 minute standing ovation. You never know. Georgia, which is, of course, great.
Right.
It's yours.
Right.
But just the way they responded to Georgia.
It's the feel you gave the song.
Yeah, we're putting that twist on it.
Yeah, please, come on.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, it's magical. And it's like, with the having you here, you'll be back many times to the side door. And I love having a young audience in here. I love sometimes I'll have a young student in here who sings someone like yourself live and going, okay.
And I find, too, that a lot of times, a lot of young people don't get the exposure to actually, to see it. When they see it live, they become more influenced by it. I've inspired so many young people to want to play jazz. To actually, they can stand there and watch you do what you do.
Yeah.
Wow, you can do that on the piano.
Yeah.
Then listening to records to actually see it live
And
feel
he
the
did
emotions.
that song, and he did it that way. You know what I mean?
And the thing about jazz, and one thing, because see, jazz is the highest level of performance on a musical instrument. And if it hadn't been for the jazz musicians, all your great composers wouldn't be known.
Yes.
The Cole Porters, Irving Berlin. Jazz musicians gave those songs long life. But they're different interpretation. I mean, I love that's why I love repertoire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would give a lot of credit and praise to singers. It's where I learned a lot of my repertoire, accompanying singers.
Now we have a singer here tonight. Can you tell a little about her? That's it.
Oh, with Daryl and Jay, she's also a very fine actress, and
she came up and just.
Oh yeah,
she was a night. She put it to bed, man.
We're like hand in gloves.
You two are like.
She's my best friend in the world,
and
I just love her to the moon and back.
And you can feel that on the stage.
Yeah.
You guys.
And we're always in the moment. We do duets, and it's always different. We never know where we just play off each other,
Yeah. This is an extra little support, you know.
Show business.
Yeah. Show business.
Show business.
Yeah, that's right.
People think that's a cop out.
No.
The real gladiators, as I would call them back in the day. It was,
right.
You're not compromising your skills.
No.
That adds to your skills.
That's right.
And technique, and people, that word is used so loosely. To me, I think what technique is to me, technique is what makes your ideals listenable. It's not so much how fast you play notes, it's how you articulate what you do. That's what technique is to me. It's not speed, it's articulation.
Right.
How much time allotted to be able to get from one phrase and rhythm and a good beat.
Yeah.
You can have good time, but then you can have time with a good beat, snap, crackle, and pop beat. That's what makes it sweet.
Right. Boom.
Shoulders all up.
That's right. And then
that's
that's like the fuel. You light the match, light it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're in it. And you've got great rhythm section, and you know, and I say that when people come in and see this, they see something they're going to be talking about, because there's a lot to talk about after you, and you give the audience everything. You give them it. You give them everything, and you know, and I love the idea of having, you know, 2 sets and having the audience hear it all. You know, I think it's really important for live audiences to hear jazz, you know, for 50 minutes is great.
Yeah.
Hearing jazz
And
for
because,
like...
see, sometimes you can, it doesn't matter how good you are, sometimes you can overwhelm an audience.
Yes.
Sometimes. So I don't really like to do that.
Right.
I mean, I like to kind of leave them hanging. I like to come off when I feel the movie has been completed.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct.
With a little chaser, a little break between it, you know. That's why sometimes I had the guys come out and play a little solo piano. It's changing the mood. Audiences, I find that audiences like to not know what's going to happen. They like the mystery.
Of course. Yeah.
Because you got so much to work with improvising and put all kind of shapes and colors to the set, you see. Yeah.
And that's the magic of that's jazz music. You know, the mystery, the fun, the spontaneity of the music at the moment, and to see what's going on. Johnny, it is such a pleasure to have you with us, man.
My pleasure as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, tonight, Johnny will be playing right over there, and they'll be swooning the audience in a way that only he knows how to do. Johnny, thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for having me, my friend.
You will be here many more times.
Well, thank you very much.
I love you to death. I love what you do for music.
Well, I love you back.
And so, ladies and
you have
gentlemen.
and this is one of the great clubs of this generation here, the Side Door.
That's right.
I love it.
Check it
It's
out.
not love it, I love it.
Love it, yeah.
Love
So
it.
come on
See,
down,
love
be part of it, and visit us and hear Johnny O'Neill tonight. And on top of that, hear who else is coming.
Yes.
You know, more people are coming, ladies and gentlemen. And
Come
it's
here, Bobby Watson.
Bobby's coming, Bill Sharp's
All
coming.
my dear friends.
And-
I send my love and gratitude to all those
And
great players.
it's a pleasure. Thank you,
Well,
man.
thank you very much. Okay.
I'll see you tonight, everybody.